Hey everybody, it's Aldo Gandhi, and I just want to let you know really quickly that our swag shop is reopened. DeepDishTees.com is where you go, and that's tees with T-E-E-S. Clever name, guys. They're the new home of our merchandise. You can get t-shirts, you can get caps, you can get coffee mugs, you can get hoodies, you can get all sorts of good stuff, and you'll help out the barroom with the purchase. So head over to DeepDishTees.com.
Going to Wrigley Field was a huge, unforgettable deal that impacted my life.
Well, I think the Cubs winning based upon the gap was one of the biggest championships that have happened in any American sport in a really long time.
The first day that they introduced me, I said, baseball matters on the north side of Chicago. It's I love baseball, and I love fan bases where it's important.
Well, I always hated the idea of the Cubs as lovable losers because I don't think there's anything lovable about putting an inferior product in front of baseball fans.
It would be the highlight of my career to see that happen and to get a chance to call it. And it didn't disappoint.
I auditioned for the new kid. His name was Billy Crystal. I don't know whatever happened. But I'm on the Chad and Ryan show.
Welcome to Friendly Confines, Extra Innings with Chad Gordon and Ryan Lieber.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Memorial Day, and welcome to the Memorial Day edition of the Friendly Confines Extra Innings. I'm Ryan Lieber. That is Chad Gordon. Chad, happy Memorial Day and another Cubs victory. We're going to get into all that. Chad is sporting don't be fooled, folks. Chad is sporting the San Diego All-Star Game Cubs jersey. He's not cheering for the Padres. Chad does live in Southern California, but he's also sporting our Friendly Confines podcast hat. I like it, Chad. Very nice look with the Padres All-Star look for yourself with the Bryant on the back. I found this old gem. And I was like, I gotta bring this bad boy out. This is the Hawaiian Chicago Cubs shirt. I don't know what you would call it. I know you've seen it before.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. But every now and then it's good to bring out. It's good to see you. And happy Monday. We're back again.
What a great weekend. I hope everybody had a nice, relaxing weekend, and just something really cool about a Monday day game that you can kind of nurse maybe a hangover or two and just relax and watch a tremendous game. I mean, I don't know about you, but that Cubs team, especially lately, but that Cubs team is really imposing their will. And this Padre team is no joke. So very surprising for me, the way that the Cubs absolutely dominated from start to finish. What did you think about today?
Yeah, I mean, they've looked tremendous. Obviously, another win. They're absolutely, just killing it right now. It's 7 wins in their last 8 games, I believe, that we are now seeing from this team. So it's remarkable to see how this ball club is really coming together. And we're going to get into all that, considering the fact that there are 7 key players, Chad, on the IL right now. And we're going to get into some of the guys who are really stepping up that I've never even heard of before prior to a week ago or even a few days ago. So with that, let us start in the 10th inning, Chad. And the Chicago Cubs just keep winning. They had a tremendous month to close out the season. As of this, live stream that we are doing, they are tied for first place with the Cardinals, who are playing this evening. So there could be a possibility that with a Cardinals loss, the Cubs are in first place all by themselves by the end of the night. But it's interesting, Chad, because I've talked to friends of mine. I watch these pundits that I don't feel like are talking about the Cubs and believing in what this team is doing right now. A lot of people are, focusing on, teams like the Boston Red Sox or the Cleveland Indians that are really the surprise teams of baseball, or the Tampa Bay Rays. Nobody's talking about the Cubs right now. And this is arguably the best story in all of baseball right now that is going on, not just in the National League, but potentially in all of the majors. So why aren't people, in your opinion, Chad, believing in the Cubs as they keep winning?
I think it's a spoiled fan base in some respects. I mean, when you don't start off April strong, and then everybody starts writing stories about trade deadlines and who's going to get dealt and how this team's going to have to get imploded right now. This is the number 3 market in America. This is not a small market team. They don't need to pinch pennies. They have a chance right now to find something special. They have a chance right now with this group of guys, to actually to do what we're doing right now. And we're going to talk into some of the new guys. I mean, I am all in on Patrick Wisdom. I mean, that guy today didn't even know, and all the girls at the barbecue were like, oh, he's handsome too. So, but yeah, who knew that guy 2 weeks ago, right? I mean, he's hitting the cover off the ball, looked like he belonged there. This team, 19-8 in the month of May, the best in the National League. And here's the thing. They've got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They're playing with no expectations, because really they didn't have any expectations. People were writing them off. And I think they look comfortable out there. And my goodness, this pitching staff, especially this bullpen, second best in the National League next to the Padres. But you look at what this team has done. They are 4-0 against the Padres and the Dodgers so far this year. And those are good teams. So this is a team that can compete with the big boys, because you know what? This is a team full of big boys.
It really is. And they've been remarkable. And you mentioned, guys like Patrick Wisdom, who has come out of nowhere and is hitting the cover off of the ball. I mean, I believe he went 3 for 4 today. He's hitting 467 in the small sample size that we've seen of him so far. And don't forget guys like a Rafael Ortega, who's kind of come out of nowhere, or a Nick Martini, PJ Higgins. Like, these are guys who, are just kind of coming up. And then, of course, we talk about the pitching staff, the Keegan Thompsons and Cole Stewart, who came here today and was, pitching lights out. And we're going to get into, that a little later in the show. But it's interesting. I told you about a buddy of mine who I spoke to earlier in the week. And this was while the Cubs were on their 6-game winning streak. And he said to me, trade them all now so we get something in return. And I said, they're on the verge of potentially getting into first place. Why would you make that trade? And you know me, I'm as pessimistic as anybody.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
I'll say right here now, like, if they're winning, keep it together. Like, you have nothing to lose. And the last thing you want to do, and we've talked about this, is alienate your fan base. If they start cutting payroll and if they start trading guys like Kimbrel or Bryant or whoever, and while they're in the middle of a division race, you are going to absolutely destroy the loyalty that you have with this fan base. The fan base as it is already is not thrilled with the Ricketts family. And you do something like that, you're going to be in a lot worse shape than you would be right now. So my philosophy is, as you said, keep the train moving. It is great to see. And you know what? I'm kind of cool with the fact that they're under the radar right now. No one's really talking about them. The pressure is off. We talked about the fact that the White Sox are really the big story in the city of Chicago right now, that the Cubs are kind of under the radar for the first time in several years. I'm fine with that. Like I said, keep the train moving, let them keep playing, and let's get this team healthy as we move into the 11th inning.
So to move on to the 11th inning, and what I think is the most remarkable about all of this, as I mentioned, the Cubs 19-8 in May, 12 players on the injured list. That's incredible. And you look at some of the big names that are actually affected by this and haven't had Rizzo in any way, shape, or form. Jay has not been flashing the glove. When I think about these injuries, which we're going to dive into the injuries, I think about Chris Bryant and his value to this team. He has started 5 different positions, at least 5 games this entire year. If there's not a more valuable player, and it's all because of these injuries, the next man up sort of situation. A lot of Cubs fans are looking at the stat sheet and the box score going, who are these guys? And they're going to find out this year who these guys are. It's a loose team. The energy at Wrigley Field. What do you think when you think about the injuries keep piling up? Is this sustainable? Because they just did it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I have never seen, at least to my memory, Chad, I can't remember a time where I've seen this many injuries to key players on a team like this, and they have continued to keep playing well. I can't remember. If you can, let me know, because I don't have any recollection of any Cubs baseball team that has lost as many key players, as you mentioned, Jason Hayward, Rizzo, who's technically not on the IL, but has been sitting out the last 6 games. Jake Marisnick, who's been a quality player, Matt Duffy. The list just keeps going on. And the newest one, Trevor Williams, their starting pitcher, who underwent an appendectomy. He has appendicitis. Who knows when he's coming back right now? So there's your number 4 starter that's going to be missing significant time. Yeah. And the Cubs are still in a situation where they're able to. And the guy who you would assume would step into that role, Alec Mills, well, he's hurt right now too. So it is absolutely remarkable to me how this team has, as you said, has the next man up mentality and has taken it and has continued to thrive in those roles. And as you said, Chris Bryant, I mean, we talked about this in the podcast. He has to be the early favorite for the National League MVP right now, not only because of the numbers he's putting up, but as you said, because of what he is doing, playing basically every position in the field other than catcher and pitcher. Yeah. It's pretty unbelievable. What about yourself?
Well, I really want to just address the Chris Bryant situation, his value to this team. And I was wondering about this as I'm wearing my Chris Bryant 2016 All-Star Game jersey when they were here in San Diego. How does he get voted into the All-Star Game now? Like, what's his position? I mean, it truly is kind of an unfair situation because he deserves it. And I think he might be overlooked because he doesn't have a true position. But his ability, especially in this contract year, to play wherever is needed, to sit in for Rizzo at first, to sit in for Hayward in right field, go into left field, play some snaps at center field. He has been absolutely the most valuable player of this team. And pay the man. That's what I got to say. Pay the man. You want your franchise to be based around a cornerstone like Chris Bryant and the flexibility that he's had. And this is what Chris Bryant can do when he is healthy. And we've not seen him healthy the last couple of years. And right now he's feeling really good and just absolutely hitting the cover off the ball.
All right, so let us move on now to the 12th inning, Chad. And we kind of touched on it in the beginning of the show. Just who are these guys? It is pretty remarkable, when you think about some of the contributions that we're seeing from these players being called up from the minors. So it begs the question, Chad, because there was so much talk about how the Cubs needed to, draft better players and kind of refurbish their farm system. Yet here we are with some of these guys that are being called up. They look like they got some pretty good guys down on the farm, Chad. What gives? Are the Cubs have a better farm system than maybe anybody gave them credit for? Or is it just a situation where we didn't know how good these guys were? What do you think of all that?
I think once you start playing the games, and that's what matters. They have come into this situation. I think it's a good situation to be in if you are kind of a no name like a Patrick Wisdom, and being able to be like, well, Chris Bryant's on this team. Baez is on this team. Willie's on this team. Like, I don't need to do too much. I just need to get there and get comfortable. And I think I see a lot of comfortable players. You listed them off earlier. You talked about Ortega. You talked about Wisdom. You talked about Sogard. You talked about Alcantara. These are guys that you're right. Nobody really had them making a huge impact on this team. And with all of the injuries that have happened and the fact that this team has been able to rifle off the May they had, just shows a lot of credit to David Ross. And a lot of credit to Jed Hoyer because that's a team effort right there. David Ross is the one that's making sure that everybody's getting their reps, comfortable. Nobody it looks like a very loose team. I put a lot of that on David Ross. But Jed Hoyer, I said this when you thought before the season started that this was a blow it up year. And I said, why would Jed Hoyer sign on to be the guy to suck? Why would he be the guy that wants to, alienate all the fans? He's out there trying to pull the pieces, do what he can to make the moves. It was a unique move, what they did with Yu Darvish and Carantini at the end of last year, which did kind of say, hey, maybe we aren't in this long term. But they have played so well. They're finding diamonds in the rough. And I put a lot of credit on David Ross. Right now, my pick for manager of the year if this team continues to perform like they have.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. I mean, listen, I think there is something to be said, as you mentioned, that, some of these guys you've never heard of before. So there's not a book out on them, so to speak, of how to pitch to them or how you're supposed to hit against them, whether it's a pitcher or a player. So I think there's something to be said about the fact that, these guys don't know who, Wisdom is or Alcantara is or any of these guys who are being called up, Ortega, to know how to get them out right now. So they're taking full advantage of that opportunity, and that's great. But yeah, I mean, it's terrific to see, because what can also happen is you bring guys up and, you know, they play like they're 4A players, right? They're too good for the minors, but they're not ready yet for the majors. And these guys look comfortable, and they are sliding right into this situation, playing well, stepping in the shoes of very, you know, that you would think are going to be difficult to play in, and they're thriving in those roles, and not knowing how long they're going to be called up for as well. So I am absolutely blown away by some of these guys. And man, I mean, you know, for a team that I didn't know how good or strong this bench was going to be going into the season, now it seems like this team has more depth than we could have ever imagined. So I am absolutely impressed with what we are seeing. And like I said, maybe the farm system is much better than what any of us could have anticipated, with that being the case. So
yeah, so you know, watching the broadcast today and seeing Jay Hay in his kind of like the street shoes outfit, because he's not playing, but he's in the dugout, you just got to wonder, they have played so much better without him having to be in the lineup every single day. The effect of that, and can he come back and have some viable role on this team? It's got to be interesting. So let's move on to the 13th inning. And what I said,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Before we go to the 13th inning, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to just show some ads, and then I promise you, Chad, you will start the 13th inning. So we'll be back on the Friendly Confines Extra Innings after this.
Look, I don't mean any disrespect. He just didn't play that well, not for a guy of his caliber.
If they don't run the ball here, I'm going to vomit. I swear to God.
I don't really have any recollection of that at all, but I guess perhaps I blacked it all out.
You know, they won, but I'm going to be miserable all week because they stunk.
I'm definitely tuning in to the Mike North Advantage now. That's a solid commercial, Aldo. Well done. The Mike North Advantage. That was a great. I don't even know what's going on there, but I'm in. I'm all in. Ryan, you there?
Aldo Gandia, of course, our amazing producer who is helping us out here today. Yeah. There he is. Always appreciative of him. Real quick, as we saw just before we came back, you can go to deepdishtees.com, and you can get your merchandise of the Friendly Confines. Chad is sporting our hat that we have, one of the many models that you can get, and you can also get t-shirts, coffee mugs. I mean, they're all there. Great merchandise for you to choose from if you're a supporter of our show and you like the podcast and you like our webcast as you are watching here through the Barroom Network. Please be sure to get some merchandise and support our show and all the other podcasts that are a part of the Barroom Network. We also want to give a shout out to our other partners at Golden Rule Entertainment, offering big league opportunities while owning a piece of a minor league style ball club. To find out more information about how you can become an owner of a baseball team, go to www.goldenruleentertainment.com as we start, Chad, the 13th inning.
So we said this during the podcast that we recorded last week, that this, no matter how well this team has been playing, they've been knocking off series. They've been winning series. This next month is going to be the tail of the tape. It really is going to show how this team does. And today's got to make you feel pretty confident, make you feel pretty good. The way they, as I said, impose their will against a very hot San Diego Padres team. So you've got 2 more against San Diego at Wrigley. You've got 4 against San Francisco, who are much like the Cubs. Nobody gave them any mind. Nobody thought they were going to do what they were doing, but they've got 4 in the Bay Area, 3 in San Diego, then St. Louis, and then 4 against the Mets, who they swept, Miami, Cleveland, 4 more against the Dodgers, and then Milwaukee. This month of June, we're going to find out how this team, how they're going to stack up. What do you think? Do you think that can they play 500 ball in June and survive?
They're going to have to, right? Because as you said, is June the most important month? I do believe this is the most important month. You know what they always said about the Cubs, right? The June swoon. That was always the knock on that team back in the 70s, the 80s. That was always the thing that happened to this team. You know, they would get off maybe to a better start, and then June would come along and they would not look good at all. You mentioned it earlier in the show. I mean, staggering 19-8 in May after 11-15 April. The turnaround has been unbelievable. And as you mentioned, the teams that they're going to be playing, the Padres, the Giants, the Dodgers, the Mets, the Brewers, the Indians, and the Cardinals. Nothing to sneeze at. And then we didn't even mention, like you said, they got the Marlins in there as well that they're playing. And I believe there's one other team I missed. But those are kind of the big six, if you will, or seven teams that they're playing in June that I feel like those are the teams that they're going to have to prove themselves against, because all those teams are either, you know, teams that are vying for division title or are already in first place at the moment and are legitimate playoff teams. So yes, absolutely. I think we are going to get, if not already, we are definitely going to know what this team is by the end of June, in my opinion. What about you?
Well, you look at, you know, we've listed off the schedule, won't repeat it again, but you've got the leaders of the East, the Mets, coming for 4, right? You've got the leaders of the West in San Francisco and San Diego. You've got the Dodgers right there. These are good teams, and this is what I'm liking about this. And I think we were, we keep kind of forgetting because COVID and had such a shortened year last year. There's a lot of games left. There's a lot of schedule left, and this team can have some peaks and valleys, but you've got to feel really good about what they did in May. You got to like how the rotation is lining up here over the next couple of weeks. And if they can stay healthy and if they can continue to score, and if that bullpen can continue to just stymie Major League professional baseball players, this team has a great chance. I mean, I've always said it, and I'm going to say it right now. All this team needs to do is make the postseason and come in healthy and on a roll. And so right now they're doing their job, but St. Louis isn't going anywhere. Milwaukee is 4 games over 500 right now. The Cubs season high 7 games over 500. If they can continue this path of playing competitive ball, you're going to have a lot more believers out there. My question is, can they maintain the looseness and can they maintain what they showed us in May, which was just a chip on the shoulder, but also just very comfortable baseball, and they the dominant team, best team in the National League.
Yeah, and they're on pace right now for 90 wins. So if they can continue that, that's a record. That's a recipe to win the division for sure. So with that, Chad, let's move on to the 14th inning, and we're going to be recording a new episode this week. But currently, our episode with our special guest this week is with NPR host and CBS Sunday Morning contributor Scott Simon, who you had the opportunity to chat with. And there are so many things, and there's the book that he wrote about the Chicago Cubs, and there are so many connections that this guy has to this organization, things that I did not know that are absolutely fascinating. One of them was the fact that Jack Brickhouse is his godfather, and he has some great Jack Brickhouse stories. The other cool tie-in is the fact that Charlie Grimm, I believe, is the all-time winningest manager for the Cubs. It was his uncle, which is pretty amazing. He was married to his aunt. Yeah. So I was blown away by just the history and the connections that he had. And here is a little snippet of what you and he spoke about that people can tune in if they listen to the audio version of our podcast, if you, of course, find it on where your podcasts are available. So go ahead and we'll hear another story from Scott Simon.
Charlie Grimm had been married to my Auntie Marion. And when Uncle Charlie died, Auntie Marion reminded the Tribune, who then owned the club, that Mr. Wrigley had promised that Charlie could have his ashes scattered along the first base line. And the Tribune, the club just didn't want to hear this. But, they said, look, if we let everybody who wanted to have their ashes scattered along the first base line be buried, the place would be awash in crematorium ashes. And they said, we just can't let this be done. And on top of everything else, they said, some of our players have religious objections and my Auntie Marion was a very determined woman, and she persisted. So when the Cubs were at spring training in Arizona, I got a call one night, Zanny Marion, come to Wrigley Field tomorrow at 11. And she was able to scatter Uncle Charlie's ashes along first base. And by the way, to this day, in our family, if there's like a close play at first base, if there's a runner on first and the pitcher is trying, and they fall, we say he gets up with a pocket full of Uncle Charlie. In any event, I do know that Steve Goodman figured out a way to have his ashes scattered at Wrigley Field. And I let's just put it this way. My daughters know where they're going to put me. Okay.
Yep.
We have the row, we have the seats.
Yeah.
And they're endlessly resourceful when the time comes, which I hope is no time soon. They'll know what to do.
It's interesting. My best friend Edgar, who I've been to hundreds and hundreds of games with, he knows what to do. And there's a season ticket holder friends and family day, and it'll be I just told him, don't make it ceremonial, just dump me wherever you want. But yeah,
exactly.
Maybe on the pitcher's mound. But, such a great conversation. Knowledgeable fan, very well thought, well spoken, prolific writer. Has written more than a dozen books. But yeah, Ryan, as you were sharing, for those that are getting to know us through the bar room on these video shows, we actually record our podcast on Wednesday, but then we also have the full length interview also that we drop during the week. So we're putting out 3 different things. So we actually haven't dropped the full Scott Simon interview. Some great stories, a ton more great stories about his godfather, Jack Brickhouse, and some great stories, but a really, really great guy to talk to. I could talk to him all day. So let's move on to the 15th inning. And Ryan, what are you excited about this week? What do you think we're going to be talking about Wednesday night when we hit record?
Well, I hope it's about the fact that the Cubs just swept the Padres going into their series with the Giants, Chad. Listen, I'm looking forward to seeing the maturation of this team as they continue to build on, series after series, and kind of what we spoke about tonight, seeing these players who have been called up, having the potential to, continue to be that next man up and supply some, needed contributions to a team that hopefully can get some of these players back, like Anthony Rizzo, or even Jason Hayward or Nico Horner. Who knows how long he's going to be out for. So I'm hoping that we can continue to see that trend of these guys, stepping up and most importantly, seeing this team win. What about you?
I want to dig further into the bullpen and really talk about how this has happened, because the bullpen had been really a weak spot for this team the last couple of years. And that started right with Craig Kimbrell, really not getting off to a strong start. And so I really want to kind of dig deep into the pitching and the mechanics of it, because they are fooling a lot of guys and they are just lights out. And I feel like David Ross and the pitching staff is doing a really nice job of keeping the arms fresh. Cole Franklin start today. I mean, absolutely fantastic. Just went 5, but that's all he needed to do. If you have a team that you just need to get through 5 and you've got enough bullpen to come in, that to me is, as long as those guys can stay healthy, is going to be something we need to be watching for.
Yeah, without a doubt. I wanted to just add up. Charlie Grimm has 946 career wins as a manager for the Chicago Cubs. So he is second all time behind Cap Anson. Who was the Cubs manager for the many years in the late 1800s and early 1900s, but 946 wins, and he led them to multiple World Series, including the 1945 World Series, which of course that was the last World Series before 2016. We all know that story. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I corrected myself on that. So,
Peyton, the intern Peyton would have been all over you on that in the show notes. So we did good.
I know Peyton is very a stickler for correct information, so I want to make sure my facts are right.
Well, you know what we're also going to do, Aldo, why don't you join us? How are we? Do we have a clean show? Are there any issues? Anything that we need to focus on?
Well, I screwed up the managerial.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Outside of that, the only other blemish on the show was forgetting that the commercial break was after the 12th inning.
Yeah, and that's why when you write the rundown in the chat, don't bury that at the bottom of the rundown.
I can't go back
Ryan.
and change it. That's why I put the little asterisk next to it. I'm just trying to make it as obvious as possible.
You did say blemishes during the show. The blemishes prior to the show are too long to list.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Great show, guys.
Yeah, this was fun, and honestly, so many people have been touched by people that have made the ultimate sacrifice. Whether in wars or others, but a special day today. I hope each and every one of you have a good opportunity to sit back and think of those that are special to you and your family, because this is what today is all about, Memorial Day.
Yeah, and if I can add one other quick thing, there were a couple of comments on your Facebook page, Chad. People were wondering, can you read? And for some reason, they're not turning up on our chat page here on StreamYard. So I'm going to work with StreamYard to have those pop up. And so all of the people who are watching on Chad's Facebook page will correct that, and that way that we can have some more interaction with our
Perfect.
followers.
We'd love that. We'd love that. Thanks, Aldo. Always making the show better and better. So a good, quick show, a fun show, and let's see if the Cubbies can hold on against the Padres here the next couple of weeks. They got 5 more games against them between now and next week. So we are going to see how this team does. Plus the Giants. I mean, the Giants are. Good Lord, the Giants are 14 games over 500. So those 4 games in San Francisco this weekend, on my birthday weekend, I might add, I'm looking forward to that very much. So I'm glad we were able to do the show, Ryan. I'm glad we were able to pull this together on Memorial Day.
And Chad, of course, you're going to be celebrating your 64th birthday. You look fantastic for 64. I mean, a little gray, but for the most part, you look good.
That's not nice. That's not nice.
I want to mention Chad is on Twitter at the Chad Gordon. I am at Ryan D. Lieber. You can also, of course, go to our Facebook page, as Aldo mentioned, the Friendly Confines Chicago Cubs Facebook page. Join us and join the conversation, and find us where podcasts are available. And of course, you can find Aldo, our producer, at Barroom Network. Be sure to follow them on Twitter as well. So, Chad, great show. Thank you.
Yeah, buddy.
Always. And well said about Memorial Day, for the ultimate sacrifice that everyone has made who has joined the military, or those who have a loved one that is serving or has served in the past. So for Chad, I am Ryan. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good one. Take care.
See you at the ballpark, everybody.